Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Godfather Minute.
Part 2. Godfather Part 2 Minute.
It is. It's true. We got to do. Oh, should we start over?
Nah.
Okay.
Skip it.
Yes, welcome to the show. I'm Alex Robinson.
You're Alex Robinson.
And you're Andy Robinson.
And we are your Godfather Minute brothers.
Team.
Brothers is stronger than team.
Brothers is?
Oh, heck yeah. Teams come and go.
Brothers are forever. So, yeah, we're talking about minute 15 of The Godfather Part 2.
Alex, repeat after me. E minuto.
Numero
15.
15.
You got it.
15. 15.
Yeah. Queen with the 15s.
Queen, that's how you remember it.
Uh-huh.
The Queen of 15.
She's the queen. She's Queen 15. What you got for a summary?
Well, in minute 15, Senator Pat Geary makes some opening remarks at Anthony's communion party. I guess they're not opening remarks; they're just remarks. Culminating in his asking Mike, Pat, Kay to stand up.
That's right.
So yeah, getting to that last part first. He says, Mike, Pat, Kay?
Yeah, Mike, Pat, Kay, stand up.
Which is weird. So what do you think of that?
Wait, and I have, who is Pat? Is that his wife?
Well,
Who's Pat?
I think he's saying Pat, but then it's almost like he misspeaks, because he goes, Pat, Kay?
But is that his wife?
Well,
Pat?
his name is Pat. Senator Pat Geary.
Oh, okay, because he just...
So
I'm totally confused. I was completely confused by that.
So I personally think, I looked on the internet for people talking about it, and some people were saying that this movie came out in 1973 when Watergate was a big thing, and our president at the time was Richard Nixon, whose wife's name was Pat. So he thought it was a way of basically associating Michael and Kay with Richard Nixon and Pat Nixon.
Whoa! And so he did it deliberately.
Well, the Coppola did it as a not that Senator Geary did it deliberately, but that Coppola wrote it that way so that people in the audience would be like, "Oh, that's
So it was kind of like a metaphor or symbolic that the Corleone family is as corrupt as the Nixon family.
Exactly.
But that so it was. Okay, but
Senator
Geary was just making a mistake.
Yes, alternately, people said that it's Senator Geary doing it as a mark of disrespect. Like he couldn't even remember Kay's name.
Yeah.
However, I am of the mind that it's a mistake. That the actor G.D. Spradlin, because the character's name is Pat Geary. How on earth could you mistakenly call someone by your own name? It just doesn't seem doesn't seem like something you would do.
Yeah.
Call her Kate or Chrissy or something else,
Yeah.
but calling her by the same name as himself?
Yeah, that's really, you're right. That's hard to do.
It seems very, and I'm sure Coppola kept it in there because it seemed much more naturalistic, or maybe he knows, maybe he liked that Nixon illusion or whatever, but anyway.
Or,
yes?
I feel like you just missed it.
Oh, damn.
Or Senator Geary, this whole time he's trying to control Michael.
Yeah.
That's why he deliberately maybe mispronounces their name.
Uh-huh.
And he has to look at the check to see the name of the son. That's pretty disrespectful. You don't even know it.
Yeah.
Maybe deliberately he said his own name as Michael's wife's. Because he's like, I own you. Like, I'm married to you. We're in this together. Like a husband and wife. I mean,
well, it does seem to contradict because later on he wants nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
So he
doesn't even want him to call him directly.
Yeah, he says what he should have said was, Mike Klingman, Oh, I'm sorry,
yeah.
Kay? Because then you would put it in the head that he should go through Klingman?
Yeah.
Is that the guy's name? Oh, Turnbull. He says you go through Turnbull. Klingman is a good man. That's the guy who they have running the casino.
Yes.
But Turnbull is the representative of the senator. So anyway,
that's so great. So weird.
Yes. So I have some information here on the actor who plays Senator Pat K. Geary.
Oh, right. Awesome.
Did you recognize him?
This is the first time we see him, right?
Well, we saw him last minute at the end.
Yeah, but he's not in GF1.
No, he's not in
This
GF1.
is it. This is the... Wow. So a lot of new characters being introduced.
Yeah, totally.
We have Merle Thomas. Was it Thomas?
Merle Johnson.
Okay.
I was like, who's Thomas?
Isn't Merle... Oh, I'm thinking of the soul singer here in Portland.
Ural Thomas.
Ural Thomas.
That's
Merle. Anyway, go check out Ural Thomas. He's awesome.
Yes.
So what did you learn about, what's his name?
Well, you didn't recognize the actor from other, because he's an actor who's been in dozens of movies.
Every now and then I see him in something, but not much.
The actor's name is G.D. Spradlin.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the oil business until he was 46 years old, 44 years old, and then he became an actor. So that's one of the good things about acting is that like you can kind of pick it up at any time because if you're an older, you just play older parts. And,
that's true.
He usually wound up playing like as the Wikipedia put it, like devious people of authority. Like playing like senators, or he's in Apocalypse Now. He plays like the general who gives the assignment to Martin Sheen.
Yeah.
So
wow, God, I don't remember that.
Yeah,
you always forget about that opening scene, with Harrison Ford,
Harrison Ford and Senator Geary.
Geary. I need you. I need your answer if you're going up that river today by noon tomorrow. Mr. Sheen. That's his claim to fame. Every movie he's in, he gets people's names wrong.
That's his it's his trademark. I remember he was in the movie Ed Wood. He played. That was the first time I became aware of him. He plays one of the ministers who funds Ed Wood's movies. And he's all offended because Ed Wood is in a dress and stuff like that. But,
a minister, a religious minister.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that part of the plot.
Yeah, Ed Wood got some money from. Because he was anyway.
Yeah.
Go to if you haven't seen Ed Wood, everyone you should. It's a great movie, fantastic if you're a movie buff, and you get to see Senator Geary in it.
So in Ed Wood, he interacts with Ed Wood.
Yes.
But in Godfather 2, when he's at the Mickey Mouse nightclub with Fredo, he gets Wood.
Oh my gosh.
Should I scrub that out?
No, it's good. It's fantastic.
By the way, for the young people listening, that's an older expression you might not recognize anymore. I don't know. Do people still say that?
Well, wood used to be something you got from trees back when trees were still a thing. And,
what are these trees? What?
Picture like broccoli, but huge.
Yeah.
Sometimes trees could also be small.
Yeah. I have a JPEG that's a non-fungible token of a tree.
Oh yeah.
That's my only exposure to anything resembling a tree.
Oh, you should go to the tree museum. They charge people to pay $1.50 just to see them.
They have a great parking lot there.
It's paradise. Yes. So Senator Geary also is thought to be based on Senator Pat McCarran, who you might be familiar with him being a fan of Las Vegas McCarran Airport.
Oh, yeah.
He was the senator in Las Vegas, in Nevada, from 1933 to 1954. So, which is before this took place. So, but anyway.
Are the filmmakers suggesting that senator was involved in corruption and funny business?
I feel like I could be tarring people with too broad of a stroke. I feel like every politician involved in Las Vegas has to be tainted to some level.
Yeah, accepting payoffs.
Yeah, it's just
the ink on their casino license isn't even dry.
I don't know how they earn their money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like it's like, it's probably like being a New York politician in the 50s. Like you have to be somehow
It's just the only way to
connected.
You can't even get into that business unless you're part of that scene. Yeah, that makes sense.
Now who's being naive?
Yeah. Well, Senator Geary also says at the beginning of his speech.
Yeah, what else does he say?
He says, "We see Nevada far too seldom."
Yes.
Well, isn't he a senator from Nevada?
Yes, but he probably spends most of his time in Washington.
Well, that's what he's referring to.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing.
He's a national.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I thought he was referring to like being holed up in some office or in some casino.
No, I imagine like most politicians, he only goes back to his constituents when he's up for re-election or to accept a donation or something like that.
I see Nevada far too seldom. Usually I'm stuck in some Mickey Mouse nightclub. It's dark. I don't see much of anything there. I remember her laughing. He always breaks into that story. His hand the rest always goes, okay, we don't talk about that now. But no, I knew her. I think I knew her.
It was this goose.
Maybe her name was Pat.
Oh,
and that's who he
just keeps accidentally slipping it out.
Stand up, Pat. Michael, okay?
He's like, stand up, Pat.
Stand up, please. Stand up. What else you got?
What else do we have? Minute 15, wrong one. Well, one thing that's interesting is that he mentions the boys' first Holy Communion. And one thing we kind of forget nowadays is that up for most of American history, Catholics were seen as being somewhat like suspicious. Like there was a lot of starting in the middle of the 1800s, probably with the rise of Catholic immigrants coming in, there was a large anti-Catholic sentiment. And so I wonder if that's also part of the senator's distaste.
Yeah.
Is that he's like, this Catholic thing that, we're good-hearted people out here. And,
Isn't that so funny? You and I being non-Christian heathens.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to understand the divisions within Christianity, the prejudice and the persecution. To me, it's all, I know there are differences and some fundamental differences in beliefs, but not the most fundamental difference.
Here, when John F. Kennedy was running for president, he was our first Catholic president.
Yeah. Your first Catholic president.
One of the things people thought was that because Catholics, the Pope is above, like all Catholics have to answer to the Pope.
Yeah.
That theoretically, if John F. Kennedy was elected, the Pope could say, "Oh, John F. Kennedy, here's the things I want you to do in the United." So that's people's fear was basically of outside power being able to control.
Wow.
So
I guess so. Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's like
the Pope he theoretically could say, "In the name of the Father, the Son, you must now raise the capital gains tax to 44%."
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
You'd say, "Yes, Master." Yes, Master.
Well, otherwise he goes to hell. I mean.
Oh man!
Wow, so that's if I'm JFK, I'm doing whatever the Pope says.
Yeah, that's right. You're playing a long game, the very, very long game.
It's a little too long. Woody Allen.
Oh no, Woody Allen.
Oh, sorry.
Woody Allen. So, do the non-Catholic Christians have anyone that they are beholden to?
No,
they don't. Right?
No, that's the whole.
Just
that's
God
the whole,
and
yeah.
Okay.
So basically, there used to be the Catholic Church, which was like the only game in town.
Yeah.
And then the Reformation happened.
I follow all that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I just didn't know if there was some. I guess there's no.
I mean, on a local level, I'm sure people are like, "Oh, the bishop of my," but not in a. You don't hear about it as much. I mean, I imagine if someone was like, obviously, when we had a Muslim president, Barack Obama, people were freaking out about that.
Yeah.
I imagine probably for similar reasons. Although there's not one Muslim like.
But is that true
that he was a Muslim? Yes.
No. Is it true he wasn't born in America? No. Is it true that Catholics have to obey everything the Pope says? Is it that? Is it that specific? Or is it just on religious matters?
I think it's on religious matters.
So they probably his opponents and all the hate musterers probably played that up. Like, he'll do all this stuff. And, all the Nixon campaigners. Right?
Surprisingly, Richard Nixon, who was a Quaker, did not want any anti-Catholic. Like, he's like, I hate JFK, but I don't want people voting for me because he's a Catholic.
Wow.
So
why not?
I think because he just knew it wasn't the American way.
Is it that, or he didn't, like, his ego couldn't take it? Like, no, you're going to vote for me for who I am and what I represent.
I don't know.
Like, I don't want to win in a sleazy way.
Up until then, Nixon had no fears about winning in sleazy ways. So
Yeah.
I don't imagine that was the case. I'm sure, if he would smear anyone for other reasons. So, call him a pinko or, but not religious matters.
So for religious, interesting.
Yeah. So, it was a different time when people actually held back from using every attack they could on their political rivals.
It's fascinating.
Currently,
anything more about Senator Geary? I got a few items too.
Well, I was going to say currently 21% of the United States is Catholic.
Okay.
37% of those are Latino. That's the biggest rising Catholic group, perhaps not surprisingly, of Catholics.
Yeah, interesting.
So you have some more about this minute.
Yeah.
So is it about the band leader?
See. So Mikey donates. The Corleone family donates to the university. Right? And very generous. I can't do a Geary imitation at all.
Yeah, it's like a Texas accent.
Yeah, but that's not. Is it the South? It's a little different from the South.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do the South.
It's closer to the South. But.
Okay. There's marvelous. There's amazing. What is it? An endowment. I always want to say donation. Yeah. And he says, in the name of, and then he kind of stops for a second, looks at the check, and says, Anthony Vito Corleone.
Yeah.
Or Corleone.
Corleone.
He says. Like, that's terrible. It's just the fact that he gets the name wrong.
Yeah, it's disrespectful.
And has to read it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my question for you, Alex, is: do you think, because it was an endowment to a university, what did the university do? Because the endowment was in his name. What did they do? Did they name a building after Anthony? Did they have a plaque?
No, not even a plaque.
A business school name, like the Anthony Vito Corleone Hug Your Mother School of Social Work.
I'm
gonna hug your mother. Hug your mother, Anthony. Or the opera school, and that's why he ended up becoming an opera singer.
Oh no, because I don't think he wouldn't. I think it would have been. I don't know. My first thing was going to say it was like the school, because I was thinking it was in honor of the grandfather Vito, so it would have been like a gardening school or something about olive oil or something like that.
Yeah. Like an agro research institute.
Yeah. Maybe it was just like a scholarship for poor children or
with tuberculosis.
Yeah, for scarlet fever and. Smallpox.
Smallpox, the medium pox.
Yeah,
for immigrants who have separation anxiety from their donkeys.
I think it was
Corleone.
Why Corleone when you can? I think it was a school for people who want to go to college to become stupid.
Oh my gosh! I know we're nowhere near GF3.
Yeah,
but spoiler
getting closer
alert,
every day.
We are. when Anthony approaches Michael and says, "Hey, I'm quitting law school," and he's like, "Finish what you started."
Yeah, they
totally should have had Michael say, "What did you go to? I didn't pay to get you to go to law school to go get stupid." Totally should have done that.
If it was Star Wars, they would have definitely done that.
Yeah, they're okay doing that kind of.
They love quoting. Like, Star Wars movies love quoting other Star Wars movies.
Yeah, so, even if it's goofy. Right?
Yeah, especially if it's goofy. Speaking of which, we should probably we have not forgotten that we're going to do the GF3 commentary.
Oh yeah.
And also I will post on our Patreon page if people can vote whether they want us to do GF3 or the Michael Corleone Coda, the death of Michael Corleone.
Oh, the original GF3 or Coda.
Yeah, depending. I don't know which one people would rather do, but
yeah.
So anyway, if you want to get involved in that, you can become a Patreon supporter. We'll have information about that later on in the episode.
And while we're at it, please check out my band, the Underdog Night Soldiers. Got some good songs coming out.
That out of the way, I have some we asked, we'll answer material.
Okay, yeah.
2 of them.
Okay.
We got a backlog. I figure we'll do 2 this time.
Okay, what's the question?
First of all, the first question is, what's the deal with left-handedness? According to the internet, 10% of the world population is left-handed.
Only 10%?
Only 10%. And they think that it is the current belief is that it's not from the brain, it's from the spine.
What?
Because they say evidence that at the 13th week of a baby being in the womb, it will start sucking its right thumb or its left thumb like consistently, and so they think that's when the handedness is like, that's evidence that handedness has already, because otherwise you would assume that the left hand and right hand would be 50%, you know.
Yeah. And kids are more likely to suck their right thumbs.
Yeah, well, I guess, yeah.
While they're in the uterus.
Right. And this starts before the parts of the brain are formed that, so they think it's because actually something to do with the spine development, genetically, something to do with the spine that influences that.
Wow, fascinating.
And also natural selection, because the more social an animal is, the more likely they are to have a dominant hand or dominant anything.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Interesting.
So
the
they
more
think that
social they are.
They think that basically there's almost like there's like social pressure to go one way or the other. It favors right-handedness because we are a right-handed world. So so people who are right-handed are more likely to reproduce, and then therefore, so I thought that was kind of interesting. So theoretically, things like I'm trying to think of an animal that isn't social.
A sloth.
A sloth. Say,
I don't know, they might be social. They're just really late to the party.
Here I am.
Yeah, you go see your other sloth children first.
Well, like cats generally are not considered social animals. Mm-hmm. They're considered,
and so they do not have a dominant side.
They're less likely to have a dominant side.
And are you saying that?
But not they're less likely to have a dominant side, but they're less likely to have. It'll be 50-50 as opposed to social animals where it's one or the other.
Okay.
So, presumably dogs, which are social animals, would have more one left hand or the right hand.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. It's crazy. We're all just a bunch of rubbery machines.
It's so crazy. And let me ask you this.
Yes.
I don't know if you know the answer. So is the proportion... So are animals, non-human animals, that do have a dominant side, do they also tend to be righties? More righties than lefties?
That's a good question. Are there social animals that are more likely to be left-handed?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you.
Wow. It makes you wonder why we are righty. Where did our right-handedness begin? I mean, I hear what you're saying. It's developed in the womb, but isn't that because more right-handed people were breeding? Like, where did that start?
I'm guessing at one point it was just like 50-50, and then like one side had to become more dominant. And once it started going in that direction, it would be unlikely to turn around and go back in the other direction. I
can't think of any nurture like way back thousands of years when humans were just going from Homo erectus to Homo sapien. Why the right side would be favored? I can't think of a reason.
Yeah, I mean now there's tons of things.
Oh sure, yeah, it's over. That ship has sailed. Alex.
That right-handed ship has sailed. So there you go. That's the first we asked, we answered. Do we need to play the music?
We asked, we answered.
And now I have another we asked, we answered.
Okay, let me reset the music. Go.
Last week, some people will recall that we were discussing The World Is Not Enough.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought that was a James Bond movie, and you thought it was the catchphrase of Scarface.
Yeah.
It turns out I am correct.
You are correct.
There was a Pierce Brosnan James Bond movie called The World Is Not Enough. The catchphrase for Scarface is "The world is yours."
The world is yours.
So, Oh, that's actually just the video game. That's the video game. It's called Scarface, The World Is Yours.
That makes sense because Scarface has that it's
Mindset.
kind of like a sculpture of those words in his house.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, or on some, it's
like
something.
a motto?
It's some, it's a motto. So it would make sense that he puts that up. Except it'd be really, really deep if he put something up that like something unattainable. The world is not enough. He goes through the trouble of building that to remind him that he'll never be satisfied.
He'll get what he wants, but he won't get what he needs.
You know what he needs, too?
What?
He needs you to say hello to his little friend.
So anything else for this? That's all the notes I have, unfortunately. It's mostly just Senator Pat Geary.
Pat Geary.
I also do want to call attention to the fact that if you'll recall, when during Connie's wedding, the parallel scene in GF1, the judges and the politicians did not show up in person. They sent their thank yous or their gifts, but they didn't. So here we are now with senators hobnobbing with the Corleones.
It just goes to show how far you've come, Michael. There was enough time.
It's weird because in a way, it shows the growing respect that Michael's getting because like he's a big enough wig where the senator didn't just accept the check and not show up. But it also could be an indication of Michael's like at the other event, at the wedding, it was all the family.
Yeah.
But now it's the family, but it's also politicians. It's a lot more people outside of the close family. So it's kind of like Michael's in his move to become legitimate, he's also diluting what make them great, which is that close family bond.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was it.
Yeah, interesting.
Did you have anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I do have something here.
I just remembered something.
Getting back to Anthony Vito Corleone, the endowment being made to the university in his name.
Yes.
Do you think? Let me ask you: what if you were donating that much money to a university? What would you insist that the university does in your name?
I kind of like the scholarship idea.
Yeah, so it lives on.
I would give the scholarship to the person who gets into the school with the worst grades.
Oh, so the last man or woman admitted?
Yeah, because I had terrible grades in high school. And so I managed to squeak my way into a state school. So that would have been a nice like encouragement of like, it's clearly someone you think has potential because you're letting them into the school.
Yeah.
But so that's what I would.
They need a little boost.
They need a little boost.
Maybe you give it to the
not necessarily they need a little boost, but it's a vafangul to the pezzavazantes in the schools.
Yeah, it's not what they want. It's it's not what they need. It's what they want.
No, it is what they need.
You said they don't need a boost.
Well, but it's not the boost they need. It's the. I guess it's
the
more
boost
of a.
They want.
It's more of a spiritual boost rather than a financial boost.
Yeah.
It's saying, you know what?
It.
I believe in you, despite what those stupid teachers said back in that school.
You just missed it.
I wish I'd gotten to a better school. I probably would have gotten it.
What I thought you were going to say is you give it to the person who gets into the school but then drops out. So that doesn't make any sense. No. I take that back. No. How about you give it to the second son of the family who has stepped over? Well,
or if it's the oldest son,
you don't give it to any oldest son. That's the criterion for getting the scholarship. You have to be a stepped over second son.
So then but they would. Well, so you mean not the fact that they are. It's not the fact that they're the second son. It's the fact that they're second. So they have to have a second son who someone else, even if
their younger siblings, step them over in some capacity, and that gets all detailed in the essay. The essay when they apply for the scholarship.
Wow, that's a. So the oldest child is
ineligible,
but also not relevant to whatever happens. Because
they somehow have to be out of the picture in order for your younger sibling to step over you.
Well, do they have to be? Not necessarily. They
Basically, Fredo's the only one who can get the scholarship. Okay, let's just say it.
Sweet.
Yeah. Send Fredo to the dining hall to get the sausage.
Do you think if you somehow did that and gave it to Fredo, would he catch on to the fact that this was created just for him, or would he be like, "Hey, I'm not smart. I won that big scholarship up at the college."
Oh, he doesn't even know.
He doesn't realize that was just created. Just
his guidance counselor said, "You know, Fredo, fill out this form and just tell him your story."
Why do they have to bother coming up with the thing instead of just giving him instead of just?
Well, it's not just for. I take it back. It's for anyone who's in that same situation. But it's a very unique situation.
Yeah, it's very unique.
Yeah, but I'm not kidding. You know, I worked at a high school for many years.
I believe you.
There are scholarships for everything.
Oh,
and one of our counselors used to tell me, Andy, there's a scholarship for lefties.
Wow.
If you're left-handed, you are eligible for this scholarship.
That seems like discrimination.
Well, this is private money. They can do what they want.
So I can say I want to do...
I think within reason, you can't... I don't think you can like discriminate on like gender and race and stuff.
Free reign.
I don't think it's a protected status. Or
so
class.
if I did a scholarship that lefties were not allowed to get,
I think that's okay because it's not a
protected class. Even though 90% of
how it works. Yeah.
It's just leaving out 10% of the. Yeah. It seems like it should be the definition of a.
It's only for lefties that were the second sons and they were stepped over. So even Fredo's not eligible.
And also, so I'll go you one farther. I'll say it has to be for the second son of a second son.
Whoa.
Which is what Vito Corleone was the second son. Vito Corleone was a second son, and Fredo is the second son.
Wow.
Sheesh.
Oh, that's great.
Put an Iron Maiden endorsement in there, too.
Second son of the second son. That's great.
Let's do a parody of that song, Seventh Son of the Seventh Son, but make it from the point of view of Fredo. It's the second son of the second son.
Well, that song is called The Seventh Son.
Oh, I know, but
we can you're saying change it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not as memorable a song. I wish we could pick a better song. Like,
how about Joe
Jackson's Run for the Hills. Run to Las Vegas.
I was going to say Joe Jackson.
Stepping out.
Stepping over. Because you're not smart. Boy, what'll we say next, huh?
That should be the name of the podcast. What'll they say next?
Well, we're at that point where we are going to say goodbye to our free listeners and go behind the paywall. So if you want to double your content, what else do we have coming up? Do you remember?
Oh, we talk a lot about some interesting mob history. We recast the entire movie of the Lord of the Rings trilogy with
classic Hollywood actors
from the silver screen era.
And we get some other comments from people at the Fredo Corleones Mickey Mouse nightclub. And we do some impressions of Peter Lorre.
Oh, and don't forget about our amazing Godfather product.
And you can hear all of that if you go to godfatherminute.com/support and help us out here on the show for just $1 a show. So we'll see you next time.